We will continue with chapter number 8 in Science 1, which is metallurgy. And our focus today will be on extraction, refining, and corrosion of metals. This is how our session would look like. Revision. Then we will spend a lot of time on extraction of metals. We will quickly look at how the extracted metal is refined, and then we will finish the chapter by understanding what is and how it can be prevented. So we will start on page number, and I'm checking the textbook. We will start on page number 102 and finish on page number 108, 102 to 108. So have your textbooks with you, have your notebooks with you, have your pens and pencils, and do annotate. Please do annotate in the textbook whenever you want to. There is a lot of information, as we have already seen in the previous sessions. There is a lot of information in this chapter. Till now, we have seen only names and methods and how. Today's session will also have some chemical equations. Today's session will have a part which is easier to understand, and there will be a part which is a little bit more difficult to understand. But what is common through them is a lot of information, a lot of diagrams, and a lot of understanding. Okay. So the revision. But am I ready to show you the slides properly? Let me first check before I open it for you. One second. Resharing it with you. So for this revision, you are welcome to use your textbooks, notebooks, whatever you want to use, but not internet and not your study guides, and try answer these questions. First question coming to your screen now. What are the main steps of metallurgy? What is the first step of metallurgy? Speak or type. So Chand is saying mining. Yes, that is correct. That was quick and correct. The first step is mining, where we dig the ores out of ground. We dig the ores out of ground. What is the second? Once again, speak or type. Karina, purification is not the second step. Alfia, mining is not the next step. Mining is the first step. Yes, Chand. Chand, once again correct. It is the concentration of ores. Correct. The second step is concentration of the ore. What is the third step? No, Chand. Refining is not the third step. What is the third step? No, Chand. It is not purification. Correct, Karina. The third step is extraction of metals. So when we are mining, we are getting the ore. We are digging the ore from under the ground. So we are getting a lot of impurities with them. So that impurity is called the gangue. In concentration of ores, we are trying to remove the gangue as much as possible from the ore. And in extraction of metal, we are trying to get the metal from the metal compound. We are trying to get the metal from the metal compound. But even here, the process is not complete. There is one more step, the last step, which you have already mentioned right? You have said it is purification, it is refining. Yes, in the textbook, we call it refine. So these are the 4 basic steps of metallurgy: mining, concentration of ores, extraction of metals, and refining. Out of these 4, we said we will focus on concentration of ores, extraction of metals mainly. Mining, we did not study at all. Refining, we will just study about the name of the process that is used to refine. But our whole process focus is on concentration and extraction. Now, concentration, which we have already studied in the previous session, is more of a physical process. Right? We are separating the gangue from the ore based on their gravitational properties, weight, based on their magnetic properties, solubility, and whether they are hydrophobic or hydrophilic. But extraction of metals would involve chemical processes, chemical reactions, and changes. That is what we will study today. But even before that, few more questions as revision. What are the different methods of concentration of ores? What is the first method that we studied in the previous class and which is given in the textbook? Okay, so Chan, when we say methods based on gravitation, what are the methods? What's the first method that is given? Wilfley table method, correct? So Wilfley table method is a method which is based on gravitation. It is based on a fact that the weight of the ore is more than the weight of the gangue. The ore is heavier than the gangue. What's the second method that we studied? We studied the diagram, we studied them and studied it in detail. Speak or type. Look at your textbook, look at your notebooks. This is everything we studied. And if you have made the notebooks, notes, if you have completed your homework, then you would remember them these very clearly. For the second method, hydraulic separation method is correct. So hydraulic separation method also works on the principle of gravitation, on the fact that the gangue is lighter than the ore. Ore is heavier. That is the case, I guess so. Check the diagram and see. Gangue is collected on the top. Hydraulic, whenever we come across this word, this is about movement of by water, right? What's the third method that we studied? Magnetic separation, not method based on magnets, but method based on magnetism. It's not a method based on magnets. It is a method based on magnetism. As methods 1 and 2, Wilfley table and hydraulic separation, they are based on gravitation. The third one is based on magnetism. Okay. What's the fourth one we studied? A little bit more complicated. What's the name? Correct. Froth flotation. Froth is jhag, the foam, and this here we now we did not get the gangue at the top. We got the ore at the top. So the ore is hydrophobic, and the gangue is hydrophilic. So we take water, oil, we take an agitator, we use air to make a lot of froth, which sticks to the ore particles and they float to the surface. And what's the last method that we studied? Concentration of ore? Yes, it is leaching, and it is based on solubility of the property of the gangue and ore. So ores may be soluble in one solution, solvent, and gangue will maybe soluble in other solvents. So what we do is we use a solvent that will mix, that will dissolve the ore. So the gangue will not dissolve, gangue will settle down. We can filter, and then we can remove the solvent and get the ore back. That's leaching. Okay. We studied these methods for concentration of ores. And this was the second overall step of metallurgy, but the first step that we studied in detail. Now, while we were studying about the concentration of ores, we came across some ores, some specific ores, and I had asked you to make a list of those ores and the metals that we can get from them. Let us see if you remember. I think the first ore that we come across was an ore for tin. What is the name of this ore? Speak or type. Speaking will be faster, I guess, but it's your choice. What is the ore of tin that we came across while we were studying concentration of ores? Cassiterite is correct answer. Cassiterite. The second thing, or one of the next things that we come across were there was an ore of zinc, ZINC. What's the name of this ore of zinc that we came across while we were studying concentration of ores? You must remember these things because these things are asked as
Zinc blend.
zinc blend is correct. Chant, copper pyrite cannot be the answer. No? So copper pyrite by its name itself, it will lead us to copper, not zinc. So zinc blend is correct, which is zinc sulfide, zinc blend. The third ore that we came across was the ore of copper, and that is what is copper pyrite, which Chand mentioned. But there was one more ore. There was an ore of aluminium, which is mentioned. What is the name of that ore? This is the most important one because we are going to study this in the most detail. Bauxite, correct. Bauxite is the ore of aluminium that we came across when we were studying concentration of ores. Right? So cassiterite for tin, zinc blend for zinc, copper pyrite for copper, and bauxite for aluminium. Right? No, Baba, Chan, ferrous tungsten. No, ferrous tungsten is a gang. Read it properly. When we studied magnetic separation, it is mentioned as a gang. It is not mentioned as ore. So Khadija, good, you joined. It's okay. If we have understood these things properly, then we may be in a better position to study further, which will be, so now we have mined the ore and we have concentrated the ore. Mining is a very physical process. Concentration also is mostly a physical process. Once we have concentrated the ore, that means once we have increased the proportion of the ore in whatever we have dug up from under the ground, we need to extract the metal from that metal compound. Remember, ores do not contain metal in their free state. Ores contain metal in their combined state, in compound forms. Okay? So that is the next step that we are going to study, and we are going to study in a lot more detail, which has, here we will combine physics with chemistry. So chapter number 8 will combine with chapter number 2 and 3. Chapter number 2 is periodic classification of elements, and chapter number 3 is chemical reactions and equations. Now we are on page number 102. So the overall logic is extremely simple. If we know what metals are. Remember, metals are on the left hand side of the periodic table in S block, also in D block, very rarely in P block. And metals have less than 4 electrons in their outermost shells, in the outermost shells of their atoms. So these atoms, all atoms, whether they are metal atoms, atoms of non-metals, all atoms want to be in a stable state, as all human beings want to be happy. So happiness for atoms is stable state, and that stable state is octet, 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So because these have less than 4, they have a tendency to lose the electrons and get to the stable state. Now when they lose the electrons, they form ions. Because they are losing electrons, these ions are positively charged. They are called cations. We have studied this, understood this last year and this year, earlier this year. Right? So metal atoms, they lose electrons to form cations, and these cations then react with anions, combine with anions to form the compounds that they form. So the ore that we have dug up from under the ground, has compounds of metals, and these compounds of metals are made up of cations of metals and anions of non-metals or some other anions. So to get the metal from these cations, we have to reverse the process. Metals formed cations by losing electrons. So for us to get the metal from the cation, we will have to add electrons to that. And if you remember this clearly in chapter number 3, addition of electrons is reduction. It's a reaction. It's a chemical change, which is called reduction reaction. We are adding the electrons. Remember, oxidation is adding of oxygen, removal of electrons, or removal of hydrogen. Whereas reduction is completely opposite of oxidation. That means removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen, addition of electrons. So when we say we have to convert the cation into metal, what we have to do is we have to give them electrons. We have to add electrons. And this method is called reduction. So extraction of metals from the ore, from the metal compound, overall, we have to carry out a reduction. That's it. That's the logic. That's the basic chemistry around it. And what type of reduction we will carry out, how we will carry out the reduction, will depend on the properties of the metal, not the physical property, but the chemical property. That is how reactive the metal is. Now, we have already seen in the reactivity series of metals that we arrange the metals in the order of their reactivity. So at the top, we have the highly reactive metals, and at the bottom, we have least reactive metals, and some of them don't react at all. So let us start from the beginning. Let us start from the top. If you want to relook at the reactivity series of the metals, you can turn to page number 97. It starts with potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium as highly reactive metals. Then magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, tin, lead as moderately reactive metals, and ends with copper, mercury, silver as less reactive metals. And then at the bottom we have gold, which is called as a noble metal, which does not react with anything. Okay. So have this reactivity series in the back of your mind and have this page marked in your textbook. We will be referring to that list while we are studying the extraction of elements, extraction of metal from the ores. So if we take the case of highly reactive metals, very simple examples can be sodium, calcium, and magnesium. Sodium, calcium, and magnesium. And here itself, you should be asking the question, but sir, in the reactivity series, sodium and calcium are definitely in the highly reactive metals category, but magnesium is not there. Magnesium is shown under the moderately reactive, and I will say yes, you are right. In the reactivity series, the magnesium magnesium is shown as moderately reactive, but it is at the borderline. Right? So the method that is used for magnesium is same as the method that is used for sodium and calcium. What do we have in this case? The salt or the metal compound that we have, they are chloride compounds. So sodium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride. And we carry out the reduction using electrolysis. That is why this is called an electrolytic reduction. What do we do in the electrolysis? Anyone remembers? Main things of electrolysis. What are the things that we need for electrolysis? When we say electrolysis, we should remember a container with some solvent. This is a solvent of the salt. This is the salt in water. So in this case, it can be solution of sodium chloride or calcium chloride or magnesium chloride. Then you should remember 2 electrodes. Then you should remember them being connected to a power source, electrical power source. Electrolysis means breaking by passing electric current. So we have to have a source of electric current. Now, the electrode which is connected to the positive side has a specific name, and the electrode that is connected to the negative side has a special name. This is called the cathode. This here is called the anode. Now, if the electrolyte is sodium chloride, sodium NaCl will dissolve in water. Now this Na, which is positively charged, will move towards the cathode, which is negatively charged. And there it will combine with electron to form the sodium atom. What will happen to the sodium? Sodium will deposit. यहाँ पे इकट्ठा हो जाएगा इस electrode पे. At the same time, the chloride ion, which is negatively charged, will move to the anode because it is positively charged. Right? And there it will lose the electron. It will lose the electron, not lose. It will gain or lose, gain or lose, gain or lose. It will lose the electron, and it will be released as the chlorine gas. So at the cathode, electron is added, so reduction is happening, and at the anode, electrons are removed, so oxidation is happening. What we are concerned with is this, the cathode reaction where reduction is happening and we are getting the sodium metal. This is how reduction happens in electrolysis. If we have magnesium chloride in place of sodium chloride, then this will look like Mg plus 2 plus 2 electrons, because magnesium loses 2 electrons. So it has to gain 2 electrons to get Mg, a reduction. The only difference is the charge and the number of electrons that are required. Same thing will happen with calcium, Ca plus 2 plus 2E minus Ca, a reduction. Now that is what we do when we are extracting highly reactive metals or reactive metals from their ore. We are skipping something. We are skipping the extraction of aluminium, and we are jumping to page number 104, which talks about how we extract metals from moderately reactive metals. Ores of moderately reactive metals. Once again, if you look at the reactivity series on page number 97, the examples of moderately reactive metals are magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, tin, lead. Right? And when you read this section in the textbook, you will also see that copper is also mentioned. And magnesium is not mentioned here. Magnesium is mentioned in highly reactive metals. Slight inconsistency between how things are classified in the reactivity series and how we extract the metals from their pores. So although magnesium aluminum is shown as moderately reactive in the reactivity series, the extraction process follows the highly reactive process. Whereas although copper is shown as a very low reactive metal, it also can be extracted using this process, moderately reactive process. That's the confusing part. Right? So let us focus on what is very clear. So zinc, iron, lead. Right? Zinc, iron, lead, they are definitely only shown as moderately reactive in the reactivity series. Now, we extract these metals, the moderately reactive metals, not from their chloride salts, but from their sulfides and carbonate salts. Sulfide would mean it will have sulfur. Carbonate will mean it will have CO3. Sulfide would mean S-2. No? S-2. Or carbonate will mean CO3 -2. Remember, cations, anions, basic radicals, acidic radicals. And because we are using sulfides and carbonates, the method is little different. Now we can summarize this method in 2 steps. For the method for the extraction of metals from highly reactive metals from their ores, we could say that it's just electrolytic reduction, and that is fine. But in case of moderately reactive metals, we start from the sulfide and carbonate ores, compounds, and we don't reduce them directly. First, we convert them into oxides, because it is just easier to extract the metal from the oxide. So we convert the sulfide ore or the carbonate ore into oxide, and then we reduce that oxide using some reductant, some reducing agent. It can be carbon, it can be some other metal, it can be some reducing agent. So 2-step process. And there are certain specificities that we need to understand. To convert a sulfide ore to an oxide, what we do is we just heat it. We heat it in air. And this method is called roasting. Roast karna, garam karna, jalana. For example, ZNS, if we heat it, we should show the heat also. No? We are not showing the heat. How bad. We should show heat. We are heating it in presence of air. And when we say air, we are referring to oxygen that is present in the air. So ZNS will become ZNO, zinc oxide. Zinc sulfide becomes zinc oxide, and sulfur combines with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide, which is released. The arrow besides SO2 means this is a gas. It is released. Now you tell me what is happening in this method here from zinc oxide, zinc sulfide to zinc oxide. What is this? Is it oxidation or reduction?
Oxidation.
It is oxidation. And keep always have this thing in mind. We started by saying that we have in the extraction of metals is about reducing, right? But we are not carrying out the reduction directly. First, we are oxidizing the sulfide ore to make the oxide. We are oxidizing the sulfide ore to make an oxide. Sulfur is also getting oxidized. Okay? It's a only oxidation reaction. A similar thing is done to convert a carbonate ore into its oxide compound. Here also we heat it very strongly, but now the supply of air is not unlimited. The supply of air, we reduce it under less limited supply of oxygen. And we do that in case of zinc carbonate. Now, because of that, zinc carbonate converts into zinc oxide. These are just examples. And this method is called calcination. We need to know these names. So when we are heating a sulfide ore to convert that into a oxide compound, it's called roasting, and this happens in good supply of air. When we heat a carbonate ore in limited supply of air to get the oxide compound, it's called calcination. In this case, the gas that is released is carbon dioxide. This is the first step of converting or extracting metals from extracting moderately reactive metals from their sulfide or carbonate ores, and this is mainly an oxidation process. The next step is reduction. The next step is reduction. Make a guess and tell me what will be the input to the next step. The input to the next step is on the screen now. If we are starting with the ore ZNS, do you remember the name of this ore? ZNS. We revise this.
Zinc blend.
Zinc blend. So if we start with zinc blend, in this method, we are converting that into zinc oxide, or if we start with zinc carbonate, we are converting that into zinc oxide. And the next step will be reduction. So what will be the input to the next step? Something that is on the screen will be input to the next step. What will it be? No knowledge of science is required, just common sense is required. The input to the roasting is ZNS. The input to calcination is ZnCO3. I'm asking you, what will be the next step? Or what will be the input to the next step? And common sense will tell us कि इस स्टेप में जो बना वही नेक्स्ट स्टेप का इनपुट होगा. तो इस स्टेप में क्या बना? Zinc oxide. So zinc oxide becomes the input to the next step, which is purely reduction. Now we can carry out reduction in various ways. So we, depending on the metal we are extracting, depending on the properties of the metals, we use carbon to reduce. So again, in case of zinc blend, in the first step, zinc blend is heated. It's roasted to form zinc oxide, and then zinc oxide is reduced by reacting it with carbon. This is reduction. See, oxygen has been removed. From zinc oxide to zinc, oxygen is removed. So this is reduction. Carbon dioxide gas is released. Simple. Remember, reduction means addition of hydrogen, addition of electrons, or removal of oxygen. So if it is addition of electrons, then we can also provide those electrons from some metals, because metals have a tendency to lose electrons. And yes, if we are reducing another metal, say manganese, and manganese in the form of its oxide, manganese oxide or manganese dioxide, we can use aluminium, which is more reactive metal. So aluminium will remove manganese from MnO2. It will form aluminium oxide and manganese will be reduced. We can get manganese. I hope you are able to see the reduction here also. So in the first reaction, carbon C is the reducing agent or the reductant. In the second reaction, aluminium is the reducing agent or the reductant. Connection with chapter number 2 and 3, mainly 3, oxidation reaction, reduction reactions. What we need to pay attention to here is many times these reactions produce heat and a lot of heat. Produce heat and a lot of it. The heat is so much that the metal that is produced is not in the solid state, but it is in the liquid state. It is molten. That is how much heat it can produce. Now, if I ask you to think about chapter number 3, types of chemical reaction, and if I ask you what type of reaction is this, the second reaction, answer this with respect to heat, energy. What type of reaction is this? Manganese dioxide combining with aluminium to form manganese and aluminium oxide, and a lot of heat is released. Chand is saying it's a displacement reaction. Yes, you can say displacement reaction, but my question is, what type of reaction is this with respect to heat? With respect to heat, we don't classify reactions as displacement reaction or double displacement reaction. With respect to heat, energy, there is some other classification. There are some other names. What are they? You will remember. Try harder. Excellent, Akhilesh, Rajesh. These are exothermic reaction, right? And Chand. Exothermic reaction, because heat is produced. And so much heat is produced that this method is also used in another physical process, which is called welding. Welding may we join metals using another metal or the same metal. We use liquid metal to join metals. Usually it is iron that is molten, and it is used to join two other pieces of iron. And that reaction is called the Thermit reaction, and this kind of welding is called Thermit welding, which is given as a box in the textbook. So definitely no one will ask you about this process in the exam, but the reaction is outside the box. So in this reaction, just the oxide of iron, Fe2O3, iron oxide, reacts with aluminium to form iron, aluminium oxide, and a lot of heat. And the amount of heat is so much that the iron that we get is not solid iron, but liquid iron. It is molten iron. तो हमको जहां कहीं भी welding करना होगा, we will carry out this reaction, and we can pour, हम डाल सकते हैं liquid iron को, and फिर वहां से हम निकल जाएंगे. The metal will cool down and it will become solid. Joint will be solid, strong. Notice that here also, what is happening is reduction. Fe2O3 is being reduced to Fe. This is the reduction, and this reduction is being carried out by aluminium. Aluminium itself is getting oxidized. Aluminium is the reducing agent, or in one word, aluminium is the reductant. So this is how we extract metals from their ores when the metals are moderately reactive. So they can be sulfide, they can be carbonate salts. So we will first convert the sulfide or the carbonate into oxide. So we will commonly use the methods of roasting or calcination, and then the oxide that we get, we reduce it using a carbon or some metal to produce the metal itself. So we have already covered extraction of reactive metals and extraction of moderately reactive metals. Let us now see what happens, or how can we extract less reactive metals. And now another confusion, right? In the reactivity series, what it says is copper and what are the other elements? Copper, mercury, silver, they are less reactive. And then when we read this section, the metals that are mentioned are gold, silver, platinum. Yeah? Badly written thing. So gold, platinum, they are mostly considered as noble metals, but Copper is very less reactive, so it can be reduced by roasting. It can also be reduced as in a different way, which is covered here. So here also the salts or the ore contains a sulfide compound, and here also we will heat it. We will heat. So this is very, 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 very similar to what we have seen in case of sulfide ores of zinc. So we will start with copper sulfide, which is one of the more common ores of copper. We heat it in the presence of oxygen. So we should show the heat. Unfortunately, the diagrams, the reactions which are given in the textbook, they are missing this triangle, right? When we say heating and when we are writing the reaction for that, we should draw this triangle, which will say that we are heating it. So copper sulfide will be first oxidized into copper oxide, oxidation. And if we continue heating that, so what will happen is this copper oxide will now react with copper sulfide. Very interesting. This is why I said the reaction happens a little bit different. So the ore itself acts as the reducing agent. Now copper oxide is reduced to copper. This is reduction. Also, this copper sulfide changes into copper. So notice what is happening. The first step is same as what we saw in case of what is that? Roasting, where we heated the sulfide ore in presence of air to form the oxide. But in the second step, we are not using something else. We are not using a new compound. We are using the ore itself as the reducing agent to form the metal. This is copper. Anyone, can you quickly find out the name of this ore? CuS. Chemical name is copper sulfide. But what is the name of the ore? This ore of copper, which is a sulfide ore, is called chalcocite. It is called chalcocite. Again, we are not required to know. But remember, we did come across another ore of copper, which was copper pyrite. Usme iron bhi tha aur sulfur bhi tha. This one only has sulfur. This is called chalcocite. Another thing that we need to remember, if you want to, is page number 105. Just after we study about roasting of copper sulfide, is another ore which is of mercury, and the ore is cinnabar. Right? This is another ore. This is another sulfide ore, which is mercury sulfide. Know the name; it won't harm. This question is asked later at the end of the chapter in the exercise. But again, because this is collect information, this will not be asked in the exam. So what we have seen now is how metal can be extracted from the metal compound that is there in the ore by reduction. So the reduction in case of highly reactive metals can be carried out by electrolytic reduction. In case of moderately reactive metals, we first heat heat them, get the oxide compound, and then reduce with some reducing agent. And that also is an exothermic process which is used for welding. In case of less reactive metals, it's a very similar process. We heat it. We heat the sulfide ore to get the oxide compound, and then the ore itself acts as a reducing agent, and the metal is formed. Metal to mil gaya. Now this is the overall process of extraction of metal, which is a lot of reactions. Unlike concentration, which was physical process. The next step or the last step of metallurgy is refining. अभी जो हमको metal मिला out of this reduction process, that also has some impurities. So we have to refine or purify karna padega. And that is done by electrolysis. So quick reminder, when we say electrolysis, we are thinking of an electrolytic cell with 2 electrodes. One is called a cathode, one is called an anode. So this is the anode, this is the cathode, right? And there is a electrolyte. Only question I would ask you, and only thing that you need to know for refining using electrolysis is, just tell me, where will the pure metal be deposited? Will the metal be deposited on anode or will the metal be deposited on cathode? That is the question I'm asking. कहाँ जाएगा, कहाँ deposit होगा? Correct answer. The metal will be deposited on the cathode, because metals form cations and cations will move towards the cathode and they will be deposited there. That's all we need to know. So whatever reduction process we may have used, we will use the metal that we have gathered using reduction, and we will carry out electrolysis to make it even more pure, to make it fine, to refine it. So in the previous class, we studied about minerals and ores. We said the 4 basic steps are mining, concentration, extraction, refining. We looked at concentration in detail, and in current session, we have looked at extraction in detail and just a quick look at the method of refining. Next. We have now it is very clear that ores are found in the ground, in the earth's crust. So we have to dig them out. That is mining. Then we have to increase the proportion of the ore in what we have dug out. So that is, we have to remove the gangue. And this process is called concentration of ores. Then we have to extract the metal from the metal compounds. So that is mainly done by chemically, it is reduction. Depending on the properties of the metals, how reactive it is, we can carry out the reduction and get the metal from them. Even then, the metal will not be 100% pure. It will have some impurities. To get even purer metal, we can carry out refining by electrolysis. Right? That is what we have studied. That is the overall process of metallurgy. Now, one metal we are going to study in detail. The entire extraction process in detail. And that metal is aluminium. Aluminium is a very common element, a common metal, and we use it in many different ways. In the beginning of the chapter, when we were talking about metals and non-metals, you identified that aluminium is used in utensils, aluminium is used in electrical wire, and in many other places. The more you will look for it, the more you will find it. So because it's a very common metal that we use in our daily life, we are going to use this, we are going to study the entire process of extraction of aluminum in a little bit more detail. These things are on page number 103 and 104. Unfortunately, the way things are given in the textbook, I think it's not very easy to remember because a lot of paragraphs are there. So one of the skills that we will use while we are studying about the process of extraction of aluminum is we will use the skill of summarizing. We will use the skill of transferring textual knowledge into bullet points, right? So that we understand, we remember, and we are able to write also. Remember, in science, especially science 1 and maths, what is required is main points, the exact points. And paragraphs are not needed. Let us begin. You will need your textbooks, and this time you will need your notebooks more. Extraction of aluminium. So aluminium is a metal, of course. And if I'm allowed to digress a bit, we in India and UK we call it aluminium. In America they call it aluminum. It is aluminium, and the chemical symbol is Al. Some information about the metal itself as an element is given in the textbook. I'm not going there, but it will be good to know that the atomic number is 13. So the electronic configuration is 283. That tells us that it is in period number 3 because 3 numbers, 283, and group 3 because the last number is 3. It is a reactive metal, not as reactive as sodium, but very reactive. Also, this is something that we haven't studied before, is it is the third most abundant metal in the Earth's crust, third most abundant element in the Earth's crust, after oxygen and silicon. So the element that is most available in the Earth's crust is oxygen, second one is silicon, and the third one is aluminum. Because it is so easily available, we use it a lot, and it is very useful too. This is the metal that we are talking about. Even the body of my laptop is made of aluminium. So where do we get it from? We have already come across this name. The ore for aluminium is bauxite, Bauxite. And India is naturally lucky. We have a lot of bauxite ore in our country. We have a lot of bauxite ore in Orissa, Jharkhand, those parts of the country. And two of the biggest aluminium extractors in the country are NALCO and BALCO. NALCO is National Aluminium Company and BALCO is Bharat Aluminium Company. BALCO was earlier, I think around 10 years ago, was taken over by Sterlite Industries. NALCO, NALCO, is still a government-owned company, National Aluminium Company. Chemically speaking, bauxite is an oxide compound. It is Al2O3. Al2O3. And it has some molecules of water as water of crystallization. That is, there is no sure number. Sometimes it is 1, sometimes it is 2, sometimes it is something else. That is why we write .NH2O. This is just water of crystallization. This is a physical thing. This is not a chemical thing. So if you remember, the crystals of compounds, they have spaces in them. Water can stay there. It's not joined chemically. It is just there physically. Because it's an ore, it has two main parts. One is the metal compound. In this case, the metal compound, which is aluminum oxide, Al2O3. The common name for that is alumina. Ore is bauxite. The metal compound, aluminum oxide, is called alumina. And the second part in any ore are the other substances, which we call as impurities. That is gangue. For example, in this case, the gangue consists of sand, silica, iron oxide, and other things. Very clearly mentioned in the textbook. Now, when we get this ore from under the ground, when we mine this ore, only 30 to 70% of bauxite contains alumina, which is useful to us. If 30 to 70% is alumina, that means 70 to 30% is gangue. Simple maths. Right? So there is a lot of other things that we dig up when we are digging up the ore. Now tell me if you have really understood. What is it? What in the bauxite are we interested in? Is it the alumina or is it the gangue? Speak or type. What part of bauxite? What in the bauxite are we interested in? Is it the alumina or is it the gangue? It is the alumina. It's a very silly question to ask. But yes, it is the alumina. Just checking if you're understanding what is what. So when we say we need to get aluminium from bauxite, what we are saying is we need to extract aluminium from this compound Al2O3. Remember again that aluminium is a reactive metal. Aluminium is a reactive metal. So the method that we will use will be electrolytic reduction for extraction of aluminium from Al2O3. Before that, we will have to concentrate the ore because so much of it is gangue. We will have to remove the gangue. We will have to get as pure alumina as possible. So the extraction of aluminium from bauxite is broadly divided into two steps. We consider that there are two steps. Yes. The third step, we are not considering mining. We are not considering mining here. And also, we will realize we will not need refining here. I'll tell you again. So concentration is carried out by two main methods. In either of the two, one is called Bayer's method. Of course, it was discovered by Bayer and invented by Bayer, designed by Bayer. And the second method is called the Hall's method. Of course, it was designed by Hall. These are people who studied science and designed this process of extraction of aluminium from bauxite. And once the ore is concentrated, that means once we have separated the alumina from the gangue, because this is a reactive metal, we carry out the reduction using electrolysis. And here, please pay attention to what I'm going to say. Because we are using electrolytic reduction, because we are already using electrolysis, we don't electrolyze once again to refine. It is not necessary. So whenever we will do electrolysis for reduction, once again, refining will not be necessary. If our reduction does not include electrolysis, then we will use electrolysis. Or if our electrolytic reduction is not giving us 100% pure metal, then we may use refining. But in most cases, when we are extracting aluminium after mining, we will get aluminium just by concentrating the ore, that is concentration of bauxite. And the second is extraction of aluminium. Are we ready to go? This is what I had told in the beginning is more difficult part. But if you have understood the previous session, then it becomes easy because there we laid down the foundation of the entire process. We will use bits and pieces of that to understand what is happening. So one method of concentrating the bauxite is called Bayer's method. To use that Bayer's method or to use that Hall's method, we need to know what the gangue is. The gangue mainly consists of silica, which is silicon dioxide, ferric oxide, which is Fe2O3, and titanium oxide, which is PiO2. The formula are given in the textbook, not required. The gangue mainly consists of silica, ferric oxide, and titanium oxide. And the method, the logic is leaching. Remember, when we studied about concentration of ores, we did not study about Bayer's method or Hall's method. We studied Wilfley table, hydraulic separation, magnetic separation, froth flotation, and leaching. Here, we are going to use leaching. Both Bayer's method and Hall's method, they use the concept of leaching. And to remind you once again, briefly, leaching involves powdering, dissolving, and recovering. we will dissolve the ore in a particular solvent, which will not dissolve the gangue, and then we will recover the ore from that. When we filter the solution, we will remove the gangue, and then when we do something else, we will be able to recover the ore from there. And for proper dissolving, we will powder the ore. Again, if you remember, powdering the ore happens in mills, grinding mills. One example is a ball mill. So both Bayer's method and Hall's method, they are about leaching. The only difference is how they leach. Otherwise, the logic is same. Keep this in mind. Otherwise, we will get overwhelmed. We will get confused. कि क्या हो रहा है? ये क्यों हो रहा है? The method that we are using is leaching, in which we will powder the ore, we will dissolve the ore, and we will recover the ore. Let me know if you are ready. The way we are going to study the next section is I will explain to you, I will summarize Bayer's method for you, and then you will tell me using the same structure how we can summarize Hall's method. Some people say Hall's method, Bayer's method. Some people say Bayer's process, Hall's process is the same thing. Both are related to concentration of bauxite using leaching. Concentration of bauxite using leaching. Bayer's method. Of course, grinding is done. Grinding is done, however we did it. Powdered ore we have. We use caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, common name is caustic soda, to dissolve the ore. When this dissolution happens, when we dissolve the when we dissolve the ore in the caustic soda, so caustic soda is aqueous solution, then there is a chemical reaction also which forms sodium aluminate, NaAlO2, sodium aluminate. This reaction, for it to take place, it needs a lot high heat and pressure. So this is carried out in a container which is called a digester. Khara is. The equipment is digesting the ore. It is forming sodium aluminate, which is dissolved in water, the solution. Now that there are how many? 3 main gangue were there, right? Silica, ferric oxide, and titanium oxide. Although the iron oxide and titanium oxide, they will not dissolve in the caustic soda, and so they can be simply filtered. जैसे पानी में कुछ गंदा होता है या चाय को जब हम छान रहे होते हैं तो जो पत्ती रहती है वो पीछे छूट जाती है. So if we just do a filtration of this solution now, we will be able to remove the titanium oxide and iron oxide, ferric oxide. But the silica also dissolves. Silica also dissolves. So we will have to remove silicon in some other way, and that is done very simply by cooling the solution. Now we add water to it, so we are diluting the solution and we are cooling the solution. So this is physical change: dilution, cooling. Chemically, sodium aluminate reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide and aluminium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide and aluminium hydroxide. Okay. So we dissolved aluminium oxide, the ore, in sodium hydroxide to form sodium aluminate. While we were doing this is called leaching. But during this process, the silica compound also dissolves in sodium aluminate. So we get the aluminium back by cooling this solution, by diluting this solution, by adding more water, where sodium aluminate reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide, but more useful to us, which is aluminium hydroxide. This is called Bayer's method. Notice though, we have not recovered aluminum oxide. We are only getting aluminum hydroxide. Okay? We haven't got aluminum oxide back. Something else needs to be done. But that is not Bayer's method. That is something else. Bayer's method has two important steps. Dissolving the ore in caustic soda at a very high temperature and pressure. What temperature, what pressure, they are given in the textbook. And then once the reaction happens and sodium aluminate is formed, we add water to it to cool it down, dilute, to get aluminum hydroxide. And so instead of writing paragraph after paragraph about what Bayer's method is, this is the minimum thing we need to know and we need to write. Minimum. Of course, if you remember the temperature, the pressure, it will be good. Bayer's method. Now, Chand is asking, here the ore is bauxite only. Yes, we started with the bauxite. Ye dekho, Al2O3, 2H2O. This is bauxite. Part of the bauxite, which is Al2O3 part, is called the alumina. We need to get alumina at the end of concentration process. We haven't completed the concentration process yet. Now, you read the Hall's process, Hall's method. It is given at bottom of page number 103, and the reaction is given on page number 104. And tell me, how will you summarize Hall's process so that we are able to compare and contrast it with the Bayer's process, Bayer's method? You have 5 minutes to do this. If we follow the same structure as before that we followed for Bayer's method, in Bayer's method, of course, the ore has to be powdered, so it will go into a ball mill and it will be powdered. And this powdered ore is dissolved in caustic soda, which gives rise to sodium aluminate. We filter the insoluble gangue and then we add water to it to cool it down, and aluminum hydroxide is produced. Similarly, the steps are exactly the same. So we will grind the ore by ball mill. We will dissolve the ore, but now we will not dissolve in caustic soda, but we will dissolve it in aqueous sodium carbonate. Here also sodium aluminate will be formed. Okay. Once again, we will filter all the gangue that is not dissolved in this, and then another difference from Bayer's method is we will not react it using water, but the reaction now will be with carbon dioxide. Water is already there. Water is also already there. So this carbon dioxide and water that is produced, that itself is used to recover to get aluminum hydroxide. So grinding is common between Bayer and Hall method. Dissolving in common. Filtration is common. Recovery of aluminum hydroxide is common. The only differences are what is used to dissolve the ore. In case of Bayer's method, it is caustic soda. In case of Hall's method, it is sodium carbonate. The other difference is, how do we get aluminum hydroxide? So in case of Bayer's method, we react sodium aluminate with water. But in case of Hall's method, the reaction is with carbon dioxide gas to form aluminum hydroxide. Let us study this way so that we are able to compare and contrast, and we are able to describe the entire process simply. And yes, the reactions are required. If you remember, excellent. If you don't remember, then stick to the bullet points. So if you don't remember the reaction, then you need to remember. Then you will need to write. We will dissolve it, and sodium aluminate is produced. When it reacts with carbon dioxide, aluminum hydroxide is produced. That we'll have to remember. So as I said, notice that we started with aluminum oxide, which was there in bauxite, and concentration is usually a physical process. Here it's a combination of both physical and chemical. So we are using leaching. That is the reason. But we are not getting the ore back. We have not got aluminium oxide. So something still needs to be done. Once we have got aluminium hydroxide, something still needs to be done to get aluminium oxide. What is that? Find it in the textbook, page number 104, top of the page. Give me one word answer. What do we need to do? Just one word, tell me. What do we need to do next to get aluminium oxide back? So whether it is Hall's method or Bayer's method or Hall's method, both, we will have to grind the ore and leach the ore. In Bayer's method, we leach it with caustic soda, that is NaOH solution. In case of Hall's method, we leach it with sodium carbonate, Na2CO3. Once we leach, we will get sodium aluminate in both cases. From sodium aluminate, we need to get the aluminum hydroxide. In case of Bayer's method, we get it by just adding water. In case of Hall's method, we do it by passing carbon dioxide gas. And to get aluminium oxide from aluminium hydroxide, we have to carry out calcination, that is heating in limited supply of air. See, we started with bauxite and now we get alumina. Al2O3 is alumina. This is the output, final output of concentration of bauxite. So in the first step of metallurgy for aluminium, first main step, we used, chemically speaking, we used Bayer's method or Hall's method to concentrate bauxite into alumina. So the input was the ore bauxite and the output was the compound, metal compound, aluminium compound, aluminium oxide, which is Al2O3, common name is alumina. Now, because this is a reactive metal, very reactive metal, we can extract this metal from its compound by electrolytic reduction. And this is carried out in huge cells, huge electrolytic cells. These are not very small. They are so huge, they are bigger than houses and rooms. Okay? So there are containers. These containers are made of steel, very strong, so that they can withstand a lot of heat and pressure, temperature and pressure. This acts as the container for the electrolytic cell. Now the cell must have a cathode and an anode, and it should have a power source. Yes, we have a power source. Now in this diagram, we are showing this power source just as a cell. But in the factory setting, this will be an entire generator. Sometimes the place where this aluminium is being extracted, they have their own power plant, mini power plant. It takes a lot of energy. Now both the cathode and anode are made up of graphite only. Doesn't matter. Carbon acts as a good electrode. If it is connected to positive terminal of the power, then it becomes anode. If it is connected to the negative terminal, then it becomes cathode. So the anodes are in the shape of rods. These yellow things, these are graphite rods. But the cathode is not in the form of rods. It is in the shape of the lining of the container, the cell, the electrolytic cell. Lining means uske andar mein ek layer, that is cathode. So now tell me, what will be the input to this cell? Kya dalenge hum isme? The answer is already on the screen, but are you able to understand logically? What will be the input to this process? Of course, it has to be the output of the previous process. So what was the output of the previous process? Quickly. Yes, it is the alumina. It is the alumina, and it is not solid alumina. It is molten alumina. It needs a lot of heat. Molten alumina. The melting point of alumina is very high. To reduce its melting point, we use these things called cryolite and cryolite and fluorspar to reduce its melting point. That is the electrolyte. Then we switch on the power. Electrolysis will happen. Remember one important question I had asked. When we do electrolysis, where will the metal be deposited? On the anode or the cathode? On the cathode, correct, because metals form positive ions. Metals form positive ions. So when I see the compound Al2O3, I see that this 3 is the valency of aluminium. So that means I will have this ion in the electrolyte. This ion will combine with 3 electrons to form the metal, which will be deposited on the cathode. And this aluminium is heavier than the electrolyte. So it deposits at the bottom, molten aluminium. और उसको हम drain कर लेते हैं. We get it out. So this is the cathode reaction. It's given in the textbook. This is important. At the anode, so if Al2O3 is my salt, if Al2O3 is there in the electrolyte, so Al is going here, that means oxygen will go to the anode. Oxygen's valency is 2, so that is O minus 2. O minus 2. Here it will lose electrons. This will happen at anode. This is removal of electrons, so this is also called as oxidation. What is happening is at cathode is we are adding electrons, so that is reduction. Reduction happens at the cathode. Oxidation happens at the anode. Now this oxygen which is being produced at anode kya hai? Graphite. Graphite is carbon. Now carbon will react with oxygen. To form carbon dioxide. So after some time, because of these reactions that are happening at the cathode and anode, the carbon of the anode, the carbon of the graphite of the anode will vanish because it is constantly reacting with oxygen and getting released as carbon dioxide. So हमको ये बार-बार replace करना पड़ेगा. And that is a question. Why do we need to replace anodes? We need to replace anodes because the carbon in the anode is constantly reacting with oxygen and getting released, is getting wasted as carbon dioxide. Cathode reaction, anode reaction. The anode reaction in your textbook is just given in a much better way, where it is showing the molecule of oxygen. So then here becomes 2 atoms of oxygen, and then we have 4 electrons that are released. What I wrote earlier was mathematically correct, but chemically not the best. This is now perfect. Now this question can be asked as to draw the diagram. This question can also be asked where the diagram will be given. You may be asked to label certain things. You will be asked, where is the aluminium depositing? What is happening to the anode? Okay. So finally, after concentrating the bauxite using Hall's method, Peirce method, after getting alumina by calcinating aluminium hydroxide, we do a electrolytic reduction where we get pure molten aluminium. जो ठंडा हो जाएगा तो फिर वो solid हो जाएगा. Today we have looked at the process of the third step of metallurgy, which is extraction of the metal from its metal compound, which is there in the ore. We briefly looked at the process of refining, and then we studied the process of extraction of aluminium from its ore bauxite in a lot more detail. Right? Let us now see what all questions we can answer. Question number 1, which is right names. Alloy of sodium with mercury. No, we haven't studied. Molecular formula of common ore of aluminium. Tell me, what is the molecular formula of common ore of aluminium? आपको पता है, अभी हमने पढ़ा. It is asking for the molecular formula of bauxite. कैसे लिखेंगे? It is something, it has aluminium, it has oxygen, it also has water. So Al2O3, 2H2O or Al2O3 NH2O, both will be fine. But Al2O3 must be written. That is 1B, molecular formula of aluminium. Could you hear me? Does it make sense? This is a factual question. Okay. We have answered the other questions already. Question number 2 we have completed. Question number 3, tell me. Bauxite will be, so we have this is a matching question. Group A, Group D. Group A we have ores, and Group D we have the metals. Bauxite will be matched to what? Aluminium is correct. Cassiterite will be matched to what? Tin is correct. Now remember, the symbol for tin is SN, stannum. Cinnabar. Highly unlikely that anyone will ask you about cinnabar, but cinnabar is mercury. We extract mercury from cinnabar. It is mercury sulfide. Okay. Number 4, explain the terms. We have completed. Metallurgy, ores, minerals, gang, completed. Number 5, write scientific reasons. The most interesting question. Lemon or tamarind is used for cleaning copper vessels turned greenish. No, अभी हमने नहीं पढ़ा इसके बारे में. पहले से हमको पता है हम ऐसा करते हैं. Last year भी हमने पढ़ा था, लेकिन इस chapter में we have not studied yet. Then generally the ionic of B we have answered, C we have answered, D also we have answered, and E. This sounds familiar. Anodes need to be replaced from time to time during the electrolysis of alumina. Kyun? What is happening? Why do we need to replace the anode? We don't need to replace the container. We don't need to replace the cathode, but we need to replace the anode. Why? What happens? The anodes, which are made up of graphite, carbon, they react with the oxygen that is produced due to the anode reaction. And when the carbon reacts with oxygen, carbon dioxide is produced. It's a gas, so it gets released. So anode is constantly, the graphite of the anode is constantly wasted. It is oxidized. That is why we need to replace them from time to time. Question number 6 we have completed. Question number 7 we have completed. Question number 8 is about drawing the diagram. So A, B, and D we completed, and today you can complete electrolytic reduction of alumina. So you will draw that diagram in which there is a steel container, there is a graphite lining, anodes are also graphite, there is a power source, and some labels as to what is what. Nothing more for me to explain. On page number 104, there is only one diagram. That's question number 8. Complete now. Number 9, aluminium came in, chemical equations we have to write. So this is something that we have studied in class, in class 9 and in class 10 also in chapter number 3. So we have to give reactions of aluminium coming into contact with air. We will study. Iron filings dropped in aqueous solution of copper sulfate. We completed it. Displacement reaction. A reaction was brought about between ferric oxide and aluminium. We studied today. Tell me, where is this reaction given? 9C. A reaction was brought about between ferric oxide and aluminium. कहाँ है, कहाँ है? Page number 105, Thermate reaction, which is the answer to question number 9C. 9D, electrolysis of alumina is done. We have to write equations. What equations will we write? How many equations will we write for this? Whenever there is electrolysis, we need to write two equations, one for the cathode and one for the anode. And both reactions are given on page number 104 under electrolytic reduction of alumina. Remember this, whenever there is electrolysis, we will write two reactions, one for cathode, one for anode. Chapter number 10, it's a very strange question. Not strange, it's a fill in the blanks question, and it is about extraction of aluminium. We have studied this now. So during the extraction of aluminium, what happens? A, B, C, or D, ingredients and gangue in bauxite. Oh, we have to write, okay, what are the ingredients and gangue in bauxite? We have to name alumina, silica, titanium oxide, and iron oxide, right? Use of leaching during the concentration of ore. Chemical reaction of transformation of bauxite into alumina by Hall's process. Heating the aluminium ore with concentrated caustic soda. That is Bayer's method, right? So I was serious when I said this is a strange question, because it's not fill in the blanks, but we have to complete a paragraph. Complete the following statement using every given option. So we have to make 4 sentences out of it. We have to make 4 sentences out of it in the context of extraction of aluminium. So in when we say ingredients and gangue in bauxite, so bauxite ingredient is alumina and gangue is silicon oxide and oxide of silicon, titanium and iron. Leaching during the concentration of ore. So we use caustic soda or we use sodium carbonate to leach, and that happens at a high temperature and pressure. Chemical reaction of transformation of bauxite into alumina by Hall's process. So we will have to write those reactions. And D, heating the aluminium ore with concentrated caustic soda, again is a reaction which is part of Bayer's method. So 4 different answers, not one. It is not a multiple choice question. We have to create 4 different correct answers. Sometimes in some places it will just be one word, in some places it will be sentences, and in some places we also have to write the reactions. So question number 10 also we can answer. We will stop here for now for today. For the next class for science, which will be tomorrow morning at 8:30, you will come prepared. In addition to completing the homework questions, you will come prepared by reading this content on page number 106, 107 and 108, which talks about corrosion. Read this in the context of what we have studied in chapter number 3, corrosion, and we studied rusting of iron in so much detail in chemical reactions. So this part of the chapter talks about what is corrosion. We will understand, we already know that corrosion is not good for the metal. And then we will understand what can we do to prevent or to avoid or to reduce corrosion. So we will study about many methods: galvanization, tinning, anodization, electroplating, alloying. A lot of more information, but not many questions, but very interesting part.